Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and the 10 people on the internet that are actually bothering to watch this, welcome to the Macey Cup in the GX UK Senior Series from Clay Pigeon from last weekend. As you can see, the conditions are absolutely horrific. We're out on warm-up now, and the kart in front is binning it, and yeah, being on slick tyres, I also binned it in an attempt to get away from him. As you can see, the conditions are pretty terrible. It's been raining all morning, it's pretty foggy as well. I don't know whether you can see that on here, but believe it or not, this is about the best the conditions actually got. As we come up to the first hairpin, you're going to get a view of how difficult it is as another kart goes backwards behind us. But yeah, not really ideal driving conditions, and from my perspective, not really ideal preparation. So had a number of issues with the van and getting down there, so actually ended up getting here really late on the Friday afternoon. So got two practices in the dry, both of which the kart broke down, which was brilliant prep. So we're going into the race morning. This is our warm-up. I think we had 5 minutes, and just going out really getting a feel for this kart for the first time in the wet on slicks, which it turns out is pretty difficult. That's us going past another kart. There's another kart stranded on the outside. I've jumped on a bit now because I thought this would be worth showing. This is probably the biggest hate crime I've ever committed in a kart. So we're behind Simon Fuller, who's new to the series. We're getting a little bit better traction out of the hairpin as we come into the chicane. And I don't really know what possesses me here, other than I must have had thoughts of, I must kill Simon Fuller, because I step on the brakes, lose the back end, and absolutely fuck poor Simon, who's obviously really happy about it. But comically, in the background there you can see another car doing exactly the same and flying into the barriers. And this pretty much set the tone for what the day was going to be like. It's slippy, it's tricky, and without much time to practice in the car, it's fair to say I wasn't feeling confident. So we can jump on to Heat 1. I think I'm starting about 6th here. I mean, reality is, spoiler alert, none of that's really relevant because we're going to go backwards pretty quickly. We're using the cam box inside the visor, so you get a true view of what I would have been seeing on the day. As we come down across the line to start the race, it's a little bit unknown what we're getting into. We've got Jeffrey Johnson, who'd ultimately go on to win the end plate, just slotting in front. Then look at Lee Jones, like an absolute rocket man in his spaceship, going around the outside, finding loads of grip and pulling in. So we've already lost a couple of positions. So we come into the chicane, it gets a little bit tight. Kart 39 there in front of us. Got slightly better drive out of the chicane than he did. As we come up, everyone's going to bunch up again and just trying to find where the grip is around this hairpin, which I'm going to be honest, I don't think I found the entire day. But we're going to have a look down the inside here. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of grip and we can't rehold the line, so we'll go back out rather than drive into his kart. As we do, we're going to break traction under acceleration and we're going to drift wide for this corner, which is going to let Andy Hicks down the inside of us. Again, like, I just felt with this kart I was really struggling for rear end grip. I know it's wet, I know we're on slicks, I know I have no right to grip, but I feel like compared to other karts I was just really struggling under acceleration and turning. But anyway, as we come down into the first corner, trying to take a bit of a tighter line but sliding out, you can see multiple corrections going on the wheel. And just down the inside of us we've got Tom Angier, who's, I don't know where he found that grip from, but he's done a great job getting around there on the inside, and you can just see under acceleration everyone else dropping me and pulling away. Severe lack of talent on my part, I suspect. But they're all going to start squabbling a bit now as we go into the more technical section of Clay Pigeon. You can see here the visor steaming up inside for me, which obviously made things a lot harder. Tom Angier's just drifted past Andy there. He's got loads of grip. Andy's going to come back at him, but Tom's done the right thing, got the switch back, and he's got better drive coming out there. As we run down the straight, we've actually got better top speed than both the karts in front. We're going to close in a little bit. It's going to lead to a bit of a hairy moment as Andy just comes back across, rightly so, well within his rights. I wasn't quite expecting it to jump on the brakes and lose a little bit more time. Back into chicane, I really struggled with this all day, as in what was the right line to try and maximise my exit acceleration. But we're going to get the opportunity to go down the inside of kart 39 as we go into the hairpin. probably jump on the accelerator too quick, go too wide, brake traction, and he's going to cut back on us, and we're going to be firmly behind him again. And I think that's really the story of the day. The car just felt so unstable on turning. You can see every time I turn in, I'm making corrections on the steering wheel. Just couldn't get any grip from the rear of the car, which then meant when I was putting the power down, I was having to take multiple stabs of it. I couldn't get it down smoothly. But we did have good power. It shows the engine's got a fair bit of poke. Lacking a bit of confidence to try and go side by side into the hairpin on 39, so we're just going to pull back in. Again, you can see just fighting with the car all the way around that bend on turning, and then as we exit the chicane, you can see a big sideways moment as we get on the throttle. Going to lose a load of time to the pack in front, and then hopefully we're going to just run really wide for no good reason. It's just going in way too hot and trying to make up time. There's a yellow flag, so just putting our hand up to acknowledge that. Don't know quite why I did it in such a weird way, but there's a car off the track there. Again, they're squabbling a little bit, so there might be an opportunity for us to try and close back up. I think that's actually Simon Fuller now in front of Kart 39, and obviously we've been on a mission this morning to kill Simon Fuller any way we can. Just having a look round, we've got Tom Purchase, the reprobate, behind us in the red car. Hopefully we're not going to let him past. He was looking pretty quick, but I know he had some kart reliability issues, and he also managed to finish the race with half a brake pad somehow. But as we come out here, Simon's struggling a bit for grip, so now's the opportunity. We're closer than ever to really put a move on Simon and kill him once and for all. Didn't succeed, but just here we get our front bumper caught on the rear of Simon's car. Again, you can see, I'm guessing that's not actually my visor, that's actually fog that we're driving through, because it seems to be happening in the same part of the track every time. I think I must think it's my visor and lift it up to try and get some air in there. But we definitely feel like we've got more pace than Simon, although he's got quite a bit of good turn of speed down the straight actually, but a little bit more confidence around left-hander than him. And what we really need to do now is have a really good exit out of this hairpin and chicane. Again, you can see working the wheel hard. What we need now is absolutely no slide out of this chicane, but again, handfuls of opposite lock trying to stop the kart sliding, and Simon's made his way down the road. We're going to brake too late, lock the rear wheels, and back off into our favourite spot backwards. That's let a load of people through. It's also damaged the rear bumper on the kart, which is going to come back to haunt us later. But we've rejoined. I think we've only lost a couple of positions, and as we come around, actually, you see off to the side on the left is Tom Purchase. Don't quite know what happened. I think him and Simon had a bit of a come-in together, a bit of a disagreement. Tom ended up on the grass. I don't know whether he actually got started again, or whether he was stranded there. But yeah, we'll take that, Tom Purchase. Thanks very much for that. So I think all in all we only lost one place there, and unfortunately, because the cam box is French and it refuses to work every day and every heat, this is the only footage we managed to get from it, and it's actually going to cut out in a minute, so I'm not going to be able to show you any more of that heat, unfortunately. So that was heat 1. I can't remember where we finished. It's really irrelevant because it wasn't particularly great, but now we're starting heat 2. We're on the GoPro Max 360 camera, so I thought I'd show you what a fat man in a rubber suit looks like driving the car. And we come down to cross the line. I think we've got Tom Angier on the left of us, yeah, number 14. So he did us nicely in the previous heat, and that's my old kart from last year actually, number 14. Tom drove it brilliantly, but as we come through into the chicane, it's going to get a little bit tight. Tom's touching the curbs, then he touches me, and we're round. We also collect Lee Jones in that, unfortunately, so the Rocket Man ended up stopped as well. But trying to get the car off that sodden grass and back on the track, we've just lost a load of time. We've lost touch to the entire pack, and yeah, that really is heat 2 over. The tyres are covered in crap, and we just go straight on at the hairpin, unfortunately. And yeah, heat 2 largely was just me driving around on my own, trying to make ground back up on the pack, and it didn't really get any more exciting than that. the kart was just totally rear limited still. I'd made changes and I'd narrowed the rear even more, widened the front even more. None of it made any difference. And yeah, dead last in that one. So let's move on to Heat 3. So Heat 3, we've got Simon Fuller, another chance to kill him next to us. He's clearly not been put off by my attempts to take him out at every time of that hairpin. I think this is our furthest forward start, so we've got a really good opportunity here, but again the weather's got worse. You can see the spray as we cross the line. Tom Stalker there on the outside, you can see the spray coming off those slick tyres. Coming into hairpin 1 is a little bit better perhaps, but you can see here just how hard I'm going to end up working the wheel. We've got Simon tucked in behind us there, so we've made a place there. And then you've got Andy Hicks finding all the grip and motoring past the two of us in an absolutely blinded move into the hairpin there. Got Jeffrey steaming up the inside. You can just see the difference in terms of my kart just did not offer that level of grip round those corners. And again, as we switch back now, you can see Jeffrey can pick his line. He's going to get the run on me, and Steve Gross there in the red kart as well. They're about to come past. It's like we're driving in different track conditions. Jeffrey and Steve just got so much grip versus me, and they're just going to drive off now. Admittedly, they've got more grip, but they've also probably got a hell of a lot more talent. But it was just a really confidence knocking day. This kart, this is only the first time I've driven it in a race. I drove it at Fullbeck a few months ago. That didn't end well with, unfortunately, my friend putting it in a wall backwards and bending the chassis. But yeah, just in Fullbeck in the dry, this kart felt mighty. In the wet, it felt the most limited of any kart I've ever driven in the wet. And we're trying to turn in tight here. You could see Simon's still sniffing all over the back of us trying to get past, so we're doing a good job of being the cork in the bottle and not allowing anyone past. I think as well, not having a micron on my steering wheel, because that broke during practice as well, helpfully. Really, I didn't realise how much that had improved my driving, in the sense of just being able to see the split times and be really clear when I'm going quicker, when I'm going slower, and actually seeing the effect of trying different lines. I just felt really, really blind without having that micron. And I never knew whether it was a good lap or a bad lap. I didn't really have any feeling for it. I just felt like I was fighting the kart the whole time. You can see here I've switched to show you me driving, just to show you the amount of correction that I'm having to put into the kart and how nervous the kart is on turning. Again, just running wide, losing all traction. I don't know who that is that I've let through there. Sorry, but I can't remember who everyone is. But I think that might be Kart 39. Anyway, Kart 39's gone down the inside, and we've got Simon Fuller still behind me. And I think, given it was his first race with us, he's racing on slicks, not had a chance to set the kart up properly for these conditions. I thought Simon drove really well down the inside of me. We'd certainly had some good battles. I tried my best to kill him, obviously to no avail. But he's going to pull away again from us here. We're going to try and keep in touch with him. And it was, this was really our only opportunity to have a decent battle for most of the weekend. But we're just lacking any point on the track where I felt like I could get on the power and actually get a run on him. He's driving away slightly from us there. And again, as we come through that corner, as soon as I touch the accelerator, the back of the kart is coming out. I'm trying to be as progressive as I can with the throttle, but it's not making a whole lot of difference, unfortunately. And as we exit onto the straight, Simon's pulling away quite considerably. So yeah, it's going to be another heat, trundling round. Not much action, unfortunately. Simon doesn't get the best of exits out of there, and we are going to get an opportunity to close up a little bit. I'm trying a wider line now and then get on the brakes a bit earlier and try and really narrow the corner up to try and find some grip. But again, the kart is sliding on turning every time I turn the wheel in. Just getting a break in rear traction. I just wish I had the confidence to have have put my foot down a bit better and a bit more cleanly on some of these exits. Again, trying to take a narrower line through the final corner to find some grip, and again the car understeering and then oversteering on turning. It just shows how bad the conditions are and how much I'm having to work in the car. So we're going to turn in now for the first corner. You can see there's correction, and we're going to head down to chicane, turn in, again having to correct as soon as we've put the turn in input into the car, struggling to get the power down, then running into the hairpin again, putting touch of the brakes, having to correct and then throw the car in as hard as we possibly can. But you can see there's multiple corrections going on through the corner. It just wasn't sticking, it wasn't happy at point of turning, again turning in and having to correct straight after we turned the car in. It just was a really unsettling experience in terms of building confidence in the car, and it just felt very alien, because I guess when I'd driven this car in the dry, it felt like it was offering so much grip. I actually thought it was going to be a rocket ship in the wet, but a combination of that and my severe talent limitations meant that's not the case. But anyway, that was that miserable heat, and we're going to jump to the final. We're behind Andy Hicks, one of our friends, which is great, and Simon Fuller there again on the outside of us, a constant throughout every heat. So as we go through, we're going to catch Simon's rear bumper again, but we're going to go down the inside into the chicane. We've got a better exit out there. Just get squeezed a little bit by Simon. There's enough room for two karts, but it's quite difficult in the wet to control them. And now on the outside we've got James Radovich, who's actually driving my other car, the Cosmic, and James flies by us under braking into the hairpin, but we're going to have much more grip than him coming out this corner. He's going to be down the inside, which is really tight, and there's not a whole lot of grip there. And we're going to power out. James is going to hit the accelerator, lose the back end of my car, and unfortunately it doesn't look like it, but he's going to rip the rear bumper off my car at that point. So this is the first lap of the final, and as we cross the start-finish line, we're now driving around with a rear bumper, metal rear bumper, hanging off the car. Trying to cut backwards to see if you could see, but apparently the guys behind said there were sparks coming off the car, which I thought might look really cool. I think in my head I had like visions of an F1 car and shower of sparks, but obviously it was far more disappointing than that, and you can't actually see it on the camera. But it's a real shame. We were having quite a good battle round there actually, James Radovich and I, and this was his first time in one of these karts as well, and we'd been looking forward to having a battle all day. But unfortunately he's just clipped my rear bumper, and with the damage that I've caused on the rear bumper going backwards at the hairpin twice already today, it just dislodged the rear bumper. No real damage, it's just the rubber has come off. And now half of the bumper is bashing along the floor while the other half remains intact. So we're actually making some progress catching up on the pack at this point. And then as we come across the line, you can see on the overhead gantry the meatball flag and terminal mechanical defect Kart 27, which is me. So I've got to come in the pits. At this point I think it's all over. I'm not actually aware it's my rear bumper at this point. Then helpfully James Purchase, the good man that he is, comes and has a look at the back of the car, and he's telling me at this point, look, if I want to go back out we can get this fixed, go and get cable ties. So I'm not going to show you, but it's quite comical. I run all the way back to the awning and come back with a pack of cable ties, which I think you're going to see in a minute. James is just seeing whether he can kick it in, I think, or James Cannon was. But anyway, James Purchase, the absolute gent he is, tells me to get in the car, and he cable ties my bumper back on. Now by this point I think I'm like 3 or 4 laps down on the field, so I am not going to finish anywhere good in this race. But believe it or not, despite everything going wrong and despite being wholly uncompetitive, I'm having a really good laugh. So I get back in the car and yeah, finish off the final driving around the wet on my own. There goes James Radovich lapping me alongside Tim, just to add some insult to injury. But despite all of this, it really was a great, fun weekend. Massive shout out and credit to James Purchase and James Cannon, the series organisers, for keeping the race going, despite the weather, and for putting on a really good show as always. If you haven't tried GX UK and you're thinking about it, don't think about it, do it. Get on Facebook, have a look, there's loads of help and advice on there. But for me, that's it, and I'll see you in the next one.
I heard man when I chat and chit. I come through like what's good, these wigs getting split. Man better breeze than sprint, it's long if I choose to bite down on these pricks. X is a lyrical 4-4 and this, so make sure it's X that you wanna rally with. Oh, make a big man turn to a kid. Shout out skull when I splat up wigs. Never seen